Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we are going to make a really fun, well, I think they're going to be fun, pair of earrings using items from my stash, including the red crystals that I got at Belladonna Beads. So let's turn down and I will show you what I am planning on doing here. We have some soft flex craft wire, square silver 18 gauge. And I've got two pieces. I've already put my loop in this one, but these are approximately 9 inches in length. And we're going to get our bell making pliers. We're going to put this on 4.5. 4.5. Make sure we're still about 4.5 here. Yep. Then just take it and both sides and bring it around like so. So you have a loop up there at the top. Now if you wanted to, you could also do a twist so that the loop is closed. It's sort of closed now. It's not a big deal. Then we're going to do a little rounding on our wires here by just taking our fingers and rolling them around till they round out some. Now, because we want a specific roundness, we're going to get our wire mandrel. But instead of going down there, we're just going to go up here on this piece. Hold this so the center is pretty much where it's at, and then we're going to bring it around. Now, I've obviously got more wire than I need because we're going to do some loop-de-loops, but we want to make sure this is sort of in the center here. So I don't think it is quite in the center. This side looks a little more bowed than that side. So let's see if we can bring her over a little more. Before I just pull it around. Now we want to do the same with the other wire. Now you'll notice I have a whole pile of things down here. Let's put those in this little tray so that they are not in my way. These are beads and spacers and some chain, and that is part of what we're going to do here. So I'll show you as soon as we get these little loops done. So this time I'm going to lay this right here in this corner so I can hold it some when I bring it around, and that will make it a little simpler. As you can see, see if we got her pretty close. Now you see this one, actually this one looks more rounded than that one, and I think that this is the one I had in the corner. So let's just hold it and bring it so that these two corners come together here on the corner here. So see how this one is. There we go. That's more like it, I think. It's close. Let's put this one in the corner now and hold it here in the corner, and then we will bring this around so that they meet right here as they come together. And this one, see how that does not meet? It's way over there. So we're going to have to make sure that this one comes up and over here, because we want to make sure that we're in the center here when we bring her over. So I made a big loop here. I'm going to do the same over here. This is not going to stay looped like this, by the way. Okay. Now that we've got those pretty well done, what we're going to do is we're going to make our loops on either side. I can see that we are of a different length on either side. See how this one is going up quite a bit more. Well, maybe they're not too bad. But what I want to do is I'm going to take that little one again. I'm going to wrap it like so. Then I'm going to put this down here and we're going to wrap it like this. Now it's going to be wider than I want it to be, so we are going to have to cut some of that loop off because we don't want it to be that big. In fact, we may have to cut the whole of our loop off and get it going again, because what we want to do, and I think I just did this the opposite direction, which I know I did, so that's all right. We're going to cut them off anyway because we want a slight opening here in the middle. So we're going to cut our loops off so that we have right here where they come together. I'm going to cut this off here. Oops, we want to make sure our flush is going the right direction. And we're going to do the same over here. Okay. Now, because I've done that, I'm going to need to do it on the other side so that we stay consistently the same size. So let's just do it like we would have done it if we're going to make something. Cut this loop off. Do the same on this side. And then cut this one off. Now these should be about the same length again. And if they are not, then we will trim them so that they are. Now see how that one is different? They're both different. See how one's longer than the other one? So we'll trim these off. We have these loops the same up here. We want these about that went crooked. Now I noticed that this one has now got a sharp spot, so we're going to cut that off. Now, as you can see, I've got these now so that they're almost meeting in the middle, and this one is way over here, and I think we may have got our wires one longer than the other one. So if that's the case, we're going to have to measure it to a degree and see if we did. What I'm going to do is just do this. But if I'm going to do that, I need my heavier duty ones because we're going to cut two. So right up between the middle, as much as I can, just cut. So now that we've got those cut, they're still not quite the same. As you can see, one is longer than the other. But we're going to take our tape measure here, and we're going to go from the loop over to the other side here, see how long it is, and if one is longer than the other, we'll cut it off accordingly. Because they probably are. Come here, you. Okay, so this one is 2 1/4. And this one looks to be about 2, so we need to cut about 1/4 inch off the other. And it's got 2 1/16. So 2 1/16 is right here. Oop, dang it, dropped it. Need to have it in my hand so I can cut it. 2 1/16 is right here, where my thumbnail is. Okay. Now we need to do the same to the other. It needs to be 2 1/16. And it needs to cut right here for this one. And let's see what the other one needs to do. Now we want these even because this particular one, oh, that one's about right where it should be. Yep. So we're going to put these on the mandrel again. Put them on and just bring them around as tight as you can go. So there we go. And this is probably going to be about the same now. Okay. Now what we need to do is make those loops that we were making before. Now this one, the first one, goes to the inside. Then you switch and you go put the small one right here on the other side of the loop and bring it up like so. And there is the first loop. Now this one needs to go with the small one to the inside. Once it gets all the way around, take your, oops, that's more than all the way around. I didn't pay attention to that. There. Once it's all the way around, put your small side beside your loop, bring this one up. Like so. Now we're going to want to flatten out, bring our loop down tighter, but we'll do that after we get our second one made. Now we're going to do the same to the second one. So we roll the small loop in till it touches, like it just did. Then we're going to put the small loop here between the little, where the loop we've already made, and then we'll roll to the outside. If you need to take your pliers out and do that like I just did, go for it. So we'll now do the same here on this side. And then up and over. Now, as you can see, we're pretty wide now. So what we want to do is we want to take our mandrel again, and we're going to put it in wherever we feel looks good. So I'm thinking this third one up, bring it around. Third one, bring it around. Now, as you can see, I'm squished these a little bit in, so we're going to have to fix that. But the next step, because we need to work harden these now, see they're pretty much identical, is we're going to get out our plate, our steel block, and we're going to take our nylon hammer and we're going to give this some taps. Actually, I may get my heavier duty one out and flatten these. That sounds really good. So I'm going to just tap these a few with the nylon jaw one, and then we're going to get our chasing hammer out and flatten these some. I think they'll look cool flattened, don't you? So here's our chasing hammer. And now we're just going to pound on these a little bit. Now, if these become a little misshapen, which they frequently do, we'll get our pliers out and redo these loops up a little bit. This one's cool. Now, also pounding there at the circle, it's going to smash them together some, And then they won't have that opening as much as they did when they were not flat. Okay, put this away, and we'll compare these to each other again. They still look pretty good. Now you can see this one is open a little bit, so we'll put our plier in here and push it back over to meet its other wire. Do the same with this one. And then see if they're still pretty close to each other. Come on, you stop going over the top of your buddy. Now this one looks like it's out a little bit here, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a tweak. Put her back over. Now she looks really good. So what we're going to do next is we have some chain here. We're going to do 2 levels of chain. One is just going to go right pretty close like so, and the second one is going to come down below. The second one is also going to have things hooked to it. So what we're going to do here, this particular piece of wire is for, well, let's dump out our pieces so we have them to work with. And let's put half in the tray for the second one, along with one of these wire pieces. Okay. Okay, I just need to get the wires separated here, and we'll get to work. Oh, look, there's one of the loops we cut off. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 1 eye pin goes to this, 1 goes to here, 3 of the little ones to each side, and 1 of the big ones. I have 1 of the big ones in my hand. Okay, so now we will start putting our dangle pieces together, and then we can see how much wire we need, because one of these dangles is going to go right down the middle here, and the chain needs to come low enough that it loops around this bead as it comes in, and that is going to have some other things besides this bead on it. It's going to have a little spacer, the bead here, this bead cap, and then 1 of the red beads. Come on, red bead, go on. So it's going to be like this, and it's going to hang down right here in the middle. The first chain is going to go around it. The second chain is going to have to go lower. It's going to have these dangles on it. So it's going to have 1 red, oh, this one goes up top. 1 of these, and another red hanging from these chains. I would prefer to have a slightly bigger red bead here, and I may search for some more because I think it would look better. But before we go any further, let's wind these up. I am not going to hardwire these in. I'm going to use, though maybe I will, this one at least. I'm going to go with my larger loop over here, up and around and down, Bring her over and around, leaving a gap because we are going to put this over the bar here. In fact, it's going to go over 2 bars because it's going to go right across these 2. I'm not sure I left a big enough gap because it went over 1, but it hasn't gone over the second. There it goes. Now this is going to get a little tricky because you have to wrap this while we're inside this loop here. So we're going to bring it outward some, as much as we can. Get hold of it. Right here. We want our loop to be out of the, our bar to be out of the way, but it's not going to cooperate that way. It's going to want to come down and be in the way. So you're going to have to be really careful as you wrap to not wrap your bar into your dangle here. So okay, now when we get it to where it wants to be at, we'll cut the extra wire off here. Oops, let that fly. And then we'll tuck it in. And it'll hang through the middle here. Now, this is a little crooked, I can see, so I'm going to take my pliers and straighten it some. And there we go. There is our dangle. We need to decide this for the first chain, what length we're going to have. Now I've got some tinky tots here. They're teeny weeny little jump rings. Have to get that later. And what we're going to want to try to decide is, I'm going to take my chain here and I'm going to bring it around, and I want to make sure that it's going to not hit my dangle. So what I'm going to do is, before I cut it, I'm going to take one of my tinky tots. I'm using these because they are a small and they're about the same size as the chain links, so they will match up really well. And then we're going to put that through one side of our wire here and close her up. You want to make sure it's definitely closed. So, okay. Now we will hold it as we bring the chain around, so we know that the chain is not going to be hitting our dangle when we hook it up. Now remember, you're going to put a jump ring on there too, so you do have a little bit of extra space here. So we're going to cut it right here at the one that's hanging just below it, so that we know that it's going to be, we've taken into account that our little tinky tot is going to add a little bit of space here. Now we do want to make sure that our chain for the other side is the same length. So what we're going to do is take our awl, we're going to put it through the top link, not the tinky tot, the top link. Come on, baby. And then we're going to take our chain here and put it on bring her down and make sure that you have it cut at the right spot, which is going to be right here, I believe, because this one is hanging up just a bit because of its on the awl with the tinky tot in it too. So right where I've got my thumb nail is where we're going to cut. Boy, that link mangled and didn't cut. Okay, there we go. Now let's see if it looks about the same. And it's just a little bit shorter, which is about right because, like I say, that one has got the tinky tot in it, so it's causing a little bit of gap there. So let's again we'll put it down on the mat now, and we're going to again measure it, make sure it's looking good. Find the end link, bring it up so it matches this link. Bring her together. Yeah, I think she looks pretty good. So we'll just drop this over in here with this one. That's the length we're going to have for the top one. So now we'll take our tinky tot, another tinky tot I should say, open it up, and we'll put on the other side of the chain. Now, sometimes when I don't want the weight of this, so I can more easily close these, I will drop it down to the mat so that it is that closed? Yeah, I think it is. So that the weight of the is sitting on the mat as opposed to on our earring. So here is the first bit, what it looks like. This looks like it's a little bit. There we go. So we have this like so. Now the next bit is going to be some more chain. We want it to go lower, like so. And what we're going to do then is we've got to make sure that this bottom one is not got an even number of links. Why? Because we're going to put one of our dangles right in the middle. So we'll put a small, and then this guy. This is our middle dangle. He's going to want to go right in the middle of our chain, like so. Then these other two little guys will go to either side. Like so. Now this is going to pull our chain down, obviously, so it doesn't matter if it's quite the same length. Well, we do have to have the same length as both sides will want the same length, but we're we're going to want it to be about closer up, closer, because this one has to link right here. Somewhere around there. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to cut this length approximately here, because we do like this particular length. It's going to come down here some. So I'm going to cut about right here. Let's go up here, guys, so you're not in the way. And then I'm going to take my awl and I'm going to hook it from both of the end links. And I'm going to see if this hangs down so that there's a bottom link down here. And it does not. So we need to cut one more link off of this. So now, if you see it, see how that bottom one is right there? That is where we're going to hook in that bigger crystal at, and then we'll decide where we're going to hook the other two. Though the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our awl again, swing these down as good as you can, and then we're going to cut this off so we have our cut chain. And it is the same length, so we're done with this chain. We don't need it anymore. So let's put this one piece aside, and then we're going to hook this piece into place. Again, with the two Tinky Tots, so that it hooks right beside this one. So, or we can put our dangles on first, and that might be the easiest thing to do because we can find that middle spot first. Now, we can do this one of two ways. I can hardwire directly into our chain, or we can, you know, I don't like the top of this. It needs something over the top of that gap. It's got a big gap there. Let's see if this little guy will work. I don't know. I don't really care for that because it's still gapping some, but it's better than it was. So we will just take and we're going to do this real low down on our pliers because we only want a tiny loop. And because of that, I'm going to use my round nose pliers as opposed to my my regular. So let's hook this directly to the chain. Let's find our middle link again. There we go. Yep, that's the middle. And we're going to take our pliers again and we're going to wrap this baby up. Come on, grab hold of the loop. There we go. Now we'll wrap our baby up here. So now all of our bits and pieces are trying to get in our way, so we're going to just have to work around them as best we can. Or a little spacer is even trying to sink into that hole of that cap there, which is a pity, but okay. Now this is a little crooked, so I'm going to straighten it some with my fingers. There we go. So there is our main dangle on our chain. And now we have to decide how far up we want these guys to go. And I'm thinking he's in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 7. So again, we're going to wrap these little guys up. We're going to put them into our into our wire, and then we'll hook our wires onto our earring. So again, we want just a little bit of a wrap here. Go to both of them here. Put your round nose in, up and around and over. Bring her over, leave a gap so we can put her on the chain. Up and over, switch, bring her over. Okay, so now we have these two ready to go into the chain. We just have to find where we're going to put it. And as I said, I think we're going to put it in number 7 as far as our links are concerned. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is this one. So let's put her in there. Now you can put these in using a jump ring if you would prefer, and it would probably be simpler. Like that, it falls out, so you have to be careful of that. Let's count them out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, one thing you have to check before you wind it up is that you have your chain or your links in the same direction, because you don't want, say, your link to be in the chain going upside down. So let's see here. Come on, you. And I think this one would be, because see, this is swinging down now and this is trying to go up. So let's take it back out. And I actually think I might be going to put this down a little lower, maybe on 5. Oh yeah, you fall out earlier, but now you don't want to come out. Okay. So, like when you're doing a cha-cha bracelet or a bracelet with links, you want to make sure that you're going in from the same direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put it actually on 6 because I think they'll hang the same spot there. So onto here. Come on, you, go on. There we go. And now we'll wrap it up. Grab hold of it. And then wrap it up. Now, like I say, if you want to not do it this way, you can put these on with jump rings. Doesn't have to be put on hardwired like this. It would be easier to not hardwire it, actually. I just like the security of hardwiring things. So, see how you're hanging now? That's good. Now we want to put the other dangle in, and then we'll hook it up, and then we have to put our ear wire on and we'll be done. So, our other one wants to go on this side. And it also needs to go into 6 with 5 in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it goes into this one. So now that I've got that on the chain, I want to carefully grab it where it comes together. Get the chain out of the way as much as possible. And now we're going to wrap this one up. Okay. Now they're all in there. We want to get hold of our chains. Make sure they're all rolling the right way. And then we'll hook these with some jump rings, the chains, into either side of our loops again. Come on, chain. Loop up. Now, as you do this, you want to make sure that your chain is not twisted. Oh, come on, you. As you put it on here. As it turns out, I could have made my upper chain a little lower I mean a little less, or the lower one a little higher. I think I am going to cut 2 links off of the upper chain to bring it up a little higher. So let's do that to both chains here. This, I think, is our longer chain. Oh no, it might be the shorter. We'll find out here in a second. It is the shorter chain, so we're going to cut 2 links off. And then we're going to unhook this top chain here and cut 2 links off of it. Because as you can see, it's twisting up too much in the bottom chain. It's too close. Oh, come on, you. What are you doing here? Okay. So we're going to get hold of our jump ring. Actually, we'll just cut this right now before we even go and unjump ring it. Just cut 2 links. Unhook our jump ring that's here with the remaining 1 link hanging off of it. Knock that link off. Get hold of our chain again. Go back over and onto our link. Now I don't have this open very far, and that's why it's fighting with me a bit here. There we go. Oop. Now let's see if I've got this much better here. Would you stop wrapping around that chain? Yeah, I like that better because it's a little further up, the upper chain is. Of course, if you don't want the upper chain, you don't have to put the upper chain in, but I like it. So come on, you. Straighten yourself out. There we go. Now the next step is we're going to take this eye pin, open it up, hook it on the top of our piece here, and then close it back up. And then put this crystal on here. And then we're going to wrap it to put our ear wire in. And since our ear wire goes this way, we want our loop to go this direction so that we can easily put it on. Now for this instance, I am going to use my stepped bell making plier to make my little loop. Up and over and around. Bring her down, leave a gap, and then we're going to feed our ear wire on. Oh, that's an ugly loop. Let's get that straightened some. Still not the prettiest in the world, but it'll work. Over and around. Then we're going to hold right here and wrap this up. cut this extra wire off. And tuck her in. And that loop looks like crap, so we're going to try and straighten it some. And there is our earring. This one, a ball appears to be twisted somehow. Come on, go through. There we go. And there is our earring, our first earring all finished. Now this is definitely a shoulder duster, but dang is it pretty. So I hope you enjoyed making this beauty with me. Let's make the second. Now the second one, we have all the stuff figured out for us, so all we got to do is put the baby together and we will be done. So let's get started on that. Had to rescue my lid here. Come on, baby, go into the end of the chain. Okay. Now, as we bring it up, we want to make sure that everything is still the same way it should be. So, yeah, it is. And oops, I knocked one of my trays over. And we'll close this baby up. And okay, something's wrong with this one. I may have got the chain tangled right here because it doesn't want to lay flat here. So I may have got this in upside down, and that's why it's being that way. So let's pull this open. Come on, you. Let's take it off. Okay, that's the way it's hanging flat, so I need to get it right here. Come on, you. Now that dangle wasn't hanging quite properly because of my chain. I had put it on backwards apparently. So there it is now. And this one is a little crooked, I could see, because it's not hanging quite right. I would swear I saw the, yeah, I did, there it is. The end of my wire did not tuck here on this one. There, it just did. Okay, and you're still crooked. Let's straighten you some. Okay. Okay, now we just need to put that top piece on. And there is our second wire, our earring finished, second wire. And aren't those beauties? Now let's put, I have one spare Tinky Tot here, so let's get that put away. And there we go. There are our beautiful earrings. Here we go. Here are our lovely earrings. They're very long, as you can see. Definitely shoulder dusters. But aren't those pretty? Those turned out very interesting. I have a bead tangled here, though. I can see it's over to the other side. There we go. And there we go. There are our really, really pretty crystal earrings. This one looks like the top is a little crooked to me, so I'm going to straighten it out. The top dangle, it wanted to be a little bit off. So there we are. Now there are many ways you could change these if you wish to. For one, you don't have to put the double loops here. You could just put a single one. You don't have to put the double chains. You could just put the lower one or just the bottom one. And if you did just the bottom one, you could use it at the same length as the upper one is, and that would raise the earring a bit. You didn't have to put this on. Though if you didn't put the crystal on, if you wanted to them to hang forward like I like, you would have to put a double jump ring on there. So it would be almost as long, maybe a little bit shorter. But there's our earrings. I really like these. I think they turned out really well. Like I say, there's a number of different ways you could change these. If you didn't like these, you could leave the middle dangle out. You could just put one dangle here, or you could just put one short chain across and just put one dangle off that. Lots of different changes. But I really liked the way these turned out. I hope you did too. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.